Oh, it's your boy Basuda Bills bringing you another episode on what the fuck I'm doing to my car. Man, sometimes I don't have an idea what I'm doing, and yes, I am making this car into a rice rocket.
You were the chosen one!
I become the very thing I swore to destroy.
Who said that you would destroy this thing, not join them?
But there's nothing else to do because of this quarantine. So on today's episode, I am going to change my headliner, which is this bad boy right here. And you're probably wondering, what in God's name is that?
What the hell is even that?
Now this is the big wave. This is very famously known in the Japanese culture, and I always thought it was sick as fuck. I always did some research on it, but I always forget what the point of it was. Anyways, well, I'm gonna be putting this up here. Now, as you can see, I do have a little bit of sagging back in that corner over there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll probably give you guys a closer look in a second. And I'm just tired of this tan. Who likes tan? Might be a tight fit. I'm not 100% sure that this might work, so I'm really hoping for the best. So I really hope that it works out and everything goes well. Now, I'll show you guys a few steps on how to take it off for this car at least. Some cars can be very similar. I know Honda and Acura, they're basically the same thing. So the procedures for the same year around might be the same, even though the cars might look a little different. But one of the main things is going to be taking this off and disconnecting the battery, because if I'm working with the sides, I'm not 100% sure they have an airbag. Some of them do, some of them don't. I'd rather play safe than sorry, so I'm going to disconnect my battery. You always remove the negative terminal so that there's no power, there's no a full circuit. You basically cut off the circuit, so there's no power going through it. Even if you take off the power, there can still be some power. And with the ground, and if you turn on your car, when only the power is disconnected, you can cause a ground spike. The alternator might turn on, the car itself might turn on and run. And that's going to be really fucking shitty for your battery, as well as for your wires. Oh no, not for your battery, but for your wires, your electronics, you can basically fry them. So never run your car without a battery, is what I'm trying to get at. Because if you're running on just an alternator, you're going to convert the energy from the alternator, or you're not going to be able to convert the energy from the alternator from DC to AC, which can then help. It's a whole ordeal I'm not going to get into right now. So anyways, disconnect the ground terminal. I'll show you guys real quick which one's the ground. Obviously, most of you might know already, but for those of you that don't, it's always better to be safe than sorry. So, on that note, we're gonna get started on the first step. As you can see right there, it's starting to sag a little bit. Get a closer look. I don't like that, and then it's fairly dirty up here too. So I could just take this off, paint it black or another color, and just have it make it look better. Or I might just keep it for now, just because it is the exact same size that it's supposed to be for this. And if that does not happen to be the fitting size, I can always just put this one back on, or I can even buy some, order some online, so and so. So on that note, we're gonna get started, and first step to taking this off is connecting the battery. So the battery is a negative terminal, it's always in black, and the positive is a plus, so it's usually in red. And even if it doesn't come in black, it might come in brown. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this. Now, when you're working on your battery, go on and check for corrosion. Look at that, so this is fine right now. This is also okay. Now check your terminals, make sure they're not crunchy and they're not pouring white stuff out of it. And if it does, you can always clean it out. Baking soda and water works really great. Or also baking soda and lime, it helps clean all that off, and it'll come right off. Now this is starting to become a bad terminal, just because look at that, it's broken. So probably gonna want to run by the store before they close to get a new one, install it. Alright, and now we're gonna put this to the side. It's very important that this is not touching anything that's metal. Any ground is anything that's metal. This can be a ground, this can be a ground, this can be a ground. Anything that's metal can be a ground. So you always want to make sure it's touching just plastic and there's nothing close to it that might be metal that can come in contact with. After you disconnect the battery, there still might be power in the circuit, so just to make sure that you get rid of all that power. You can either let the car sit for a few minutes, anywhere from I believe 10 to 15, just to fully make sure that it's all out there, or you can also flash your lights, turn on the lights, blinkers, and lamps, which should get rid of whatever's left. So yeah, just a little tip for you guys, so you guys know. Now that that's done, we're gonna want to get our flathead, and just because I don't have a trim remover, I mean I had one, but I don't know where it was left, so I mean this can suffice. So the reason why you want a napkin or a fat piece of fabric or something is because when you're putting this on the trim, if this is on the trim, it's gonna easily scrape it, cut it, and so it's gonna help as a padding. Now open the door for more space. Now I don't know if you guys might see right there, that's where we want to put our clip in. So some of you might get confused, and there's a little top slot right here. I don't know if you can see it right there. You might want to put your flathead or your trim removal piece right there. No, it does not go on either one of these. These are just for holding the piece up, or like the thing that it's clipping on. You're actually gonna want to get it from the back right here. There's another slot as well. It's really easy to miss because you can barely see it. You'll see it. Be like right there. That's where you want to put your flathead, and just pop it out. Pop it out. I'm gonna be doing that for you guys next step. So, okay, get patty, and just pop it out. We're gonna do that for all 4 of these sides. So always make sure that when you're doing something like this and you're putting pressure, you're checking the tip constantly, because it can easily penetrate through and you won't even be able to notice it. You can even make the tiniest slot and it'll be like that, and you're going to be working and you won't be able to see because this is in the way. So now that all 4 of these are off, you're going to want to get, I believe, number 10. There we go. Let's take out that front clip. It should just come right off, no problem. And that's the handle itself. So you don't keep it separated so we don't lose track of it. I'm just gonna put it right here at the side door. Look at that, already clean, coming off. Okay, now that we got all 4 of those out, we're gonna start taking these off. So these are fairly easy. There is a clip behind this one, so that's the first clue on how to take it out. So the way we take these out is put them this way, and you rotate them, and that's when the clip comes in. You just push it, it should be come right out. Put these always somewhere where you can keep track of it. Don't just leave it on the floor, forget about it. You're looking for it later, you spend hours looking for that piece. So somewhere it's easy to remember, easy to see, always in sight. Now we're able to take these off. Relatively simple. Oh no, it's not a cross. Now, this is why you want to watch out for what type of screw it is. So the size for these is a T40, as you can read right there, and it's a style Torx. So other people might call it star. It's basically the same thing, star Torx. So you can see these have a 6 contact point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And these are very common in the automotive world. Trim, as well as some of the engine parts, they use Torx. It's always good to have one of these around, just in case, just because you're gonna need them at some point or another. So let's get started. So once you take off the screws for these, this should just be able to come right out. And just be careful when pulling this out, since this does have a light right here. It means that there's going to be a cable behind it that you have to disconnect. Look at that. There is a connection for the cable, so just be careful, wiggle it around a little bit if you have to. Don't leave it hanging, because it's going to leave a lot of tension on the cable. So the cable can eventually pull out of the connection, which might require you to plug it back in. That can be a little bit of a hassle, and if you don't have the appropriate tools, it's definitely going to be a headache. And these require special tools in order to be able to pull them out and pull them back in. But even if you put a lot of tension on it, you can just rip out, or you can have a bad connection. And the last thing you want to do is take all of this off, have to replace that cable, possibly even the connection itself, because you just left it hanging. So always remember to, when you're taking one of these off, take them off and push it where it's supposed to. Don't just start pulling on it. And when you pull, don't pull from the cable, pull from the connection right here, since that won't break off. And now that you have this, just leave it hanging right there, or you can push it back inside, but just be cautious that you don't know how the inside looks. So it's better off just to leave it right there and on its own. So this, since this is a little bit more larger, you can put this right here just to be safe, because you're not stepping on it and stuff. I know my car's a mess. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
So now we're gonna do the other side. Alright, so it's the same procedure. We're gonna clip this out, and when you're taking these out, don't just pull them down or just start pulling and stuff. Be sure to put your thumb here. You can push it from the back, and just to be safe, because if it's not your car that you're working on and it's a customer's car, you always want to avoid the possibility of it breaking and then you having to go to a supply store or a hardware store or an auto store or whatever, and just to buy this one little clip that you broke, because you don't want to give this clip broken especially back to the customer. If it's broken, there's nothing for it to hang on, there's nothing for it to be still, and when they're driving and then they do a little kickback, it's gonna hit them right in the head. How do I know? It's happened to me before. I don't put it in all the way, and as soon as you accelerate, it just smacks you in the head, and let me tell you, it can really throw you off while you're driving. So same thing, pull this out, and then make sure you rotate this the way that it's supposed to. Then you're going to put your flathead, push it down, there you go, and it should come right out. So when you're trying to rotate, make sure that you're pushing it so it kind of gives it a little bit more space for you to be able to rotate it, and it should come right out as soon as you get it where it's supposed to. Remember, leave this somewhere you might remember. I'm gonna leave mine right there, and then now we're gonna get in with those inside the screws and get them out. There we go. All right, same thing. There you go. This car's not going anywhere. Okay, so next step is taking this part off. So for this, make sure there's nothing in here, and I already have 2 screws already in there, but apparently one is missing. You never want to leave one screw missing, especially if it's just 2 of them, because one side can be looser than the other. You hear that? So if the car's driving, if you're going down the bumpy road, that's going to shake a lot, to make a lot of noise. The customer is not going to be satisfied, and he won't be happy with the job left over. Or even the person driving it, yourself, your grandma, your mom, your dog, who knows. They're not going to like the fact that it's sounding, it's vibrating. So noise, vibration, and harshness is very common in the car world, and it can actually be a big factor as to why people don't want a car, specifically the one that you're selling or so-and-so. So make sure you always have the proper hardware and you don't lose track of it. It's very crucial that you don't. So we're going to go ahead and take that out. And I have right here number 2 cross. And my dog chewed this one, so thank you, Mr. Peanut Butter. Well, then again, it's not mine, it's my stepdad. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take this screw out. Only screw, the one screw, the screwy screw that's very screwy and that turns right and left, and here it goes. So keep track of it, don't lose it, don't start shaking the car and God knows what. Now that that screw is out, we're gonna go ahead and take this off, which is also part of it. Remember, if you don't have any trim removal, you can do a flathead, and just remember to cover it. So once you take these off, make sure you put them somewhere safe where they won't get crushed and stuff, since these are light bulbs. Take off the screws. Since there is light bulbs, that means that there's going to be a connection, wires, plugs, all that good stuff. So just be ready for that. Try to hold it with one hand so it doesn't just hang. Same thing. And it should be coming out now. And here we have our connection. Beautiful. There we go. Put that to the side. Looking good so far. We have most of the things going on here. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing for this light right here. So we're gonna actually jump back to the back seat. Always look for these clip inserts. These are gonna be your little guides. You don't want to just shove it anywhere and cause damage and make it look out of place. So get in there barely. Pop that out. Next one. There we go. And now these are probably look like a 10. So we're gonna go ahead and take this out. Oh no, it's smaller.